Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Saranandana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Purivrajak Acharya Astatara Satashi Srimad His Divine Grace Obhai Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Purivrajak Acharya Astatara Satashi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Maya Purnapati Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Shamaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Thai Go Premananda All glories to the assembly. All glories to the assembly. Devotees, all glories to the assembly. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Te Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sannivari Paschatya Disatarine Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya. Not Vasudev, Vasudevaya. Today we're reading, I believe, from text 32. This is the first canto, chapter 10. This is entitled Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka. Ajata Shatru Prittanam Gopitaya Madhudvishaha Parebhyaha Sankitaha Snehat Prayunkta Chatur Anginim Ajata Shatru I can't. Yeah. Ajata Shatru Prithanam Kupitaya Madhudishaha Parebhya sankita snehat Prayunkta chatur anginam. It's anginam? Anginim. Whoa. Prayunkta chaturanginim. Rajata shatu prithanam. Upitaya madhudishaha. Parebhya sankita snehat. Parebhya sankita Prayunkta chaturangini. Ajata satru prithanam. Parebhya sankita sneha. Prayukta chaturangini. Ajata satru prithanam. Gopitaya madhudvisha. Parebhya sankita sneha. Prayukta chaturangini. Ajata satru prithanam. Gopitaya madhudvisha. Sankita snehat. Prayukta chaturangini. Ladies? Jata shatu prithanam. Gopidhaya madhudishaha. Parebhya sankita snehat. Prayukta chaturangini. Ajata satru prithanam. Gopitaya madhudvishaha. Parebhya sankita snehat. Prayukta chaturangini. Word meanings. Ajata Shatru. Maharaj Yudhisthira, who is no one's enemy. Puttanam. Defensive forces. Upitaya. Forgiving protection. Madhudvishaha. Of the enemy of Madhu. Sri Krishna. Krishna was the enemy of Madhu. Madhu was the enemy of Krishna. You could take it either way. Parebhyaha. From others. Enemies. Sankitaha. Being afraid of. Snehat. Out of affection. Prayunkta. Engaged. Chatuhu. Anginim. 4 defensive divisions. Did you do? Oh, okay. Maharaj Yudhisthira, although no one's enemy, engaged 4 divisions of defense: horse, elephant, chariot, and army, to accompany Lord Krishna, the enemy of the Asuras, demons. The Maharaj did this because of the enemy and also out of affection for the Lord. So this is Lord Krishna departing Hastinapur for Dwarka. Is that correct? Yes. He stayed in Hastinapur at the request of Yudhisthira for some time. Now Yudhisthira is accompanying him. Natural defensive measures are horses and elephants, combined with chariots and men. Horses and elephants are trained to move to any part of the hills or forest and plains. The charioteers could fight with many horses and elephants by the strength of powerful arrows, even up to the standard of the Brahmastra, similar to modern atomic weapons. Maharaj Yudhisthira knew well that Krishna is everyone's friend and well-wisher. And yet there were asuras who were by nature envious of the Lord. So out of fear of attack from others, and out of affection also, he engaged all varieties of defense forces as bodyguards of Lord Krishna. If required, Lord Krishna himself was sufficient to defend himself from the attack of others, who counted the Lord as their enemy. But still, he accepted all the arrangements made by Maharaj Yudhisthira because he could not disobey the king who was his elder cousin. The Lord plays the part of a subordinate in his transcendental sporting, and thus sometimes he puts himself in the care of Jashoda Mata for his protection in his so-called helplessness of childhood. That is the transcendental Leela, or pastime of the Lord. The basic principle for all transcendental exchanges between the Lord and his devotees is exhibited to enjoy a transcendental bliss for which there is no comparison, even up to the level of Brahmananda. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sometimes, Hare Krishna. Gauranga. Gauranga. Sometimes people who don't understand Krishna consciousness find out that Krishna married 16,000 wives, or that Krishna was dancing with the wives of other men, and they're just completely bewildered by that. Doesn't make any sense. But according to what Prabhupada is saying here, the reason he does that is because they want that. They want to dance with him. They want him to be their husband. So that's why he does it. He doesn't need to do it. He's Atmarama. But he's doing it for them. And just like Prabhupada says here, does Krishna need horses and chariots and military men and to protect him on his way to Dwarka? Of course not. But Yudhisthira wants to do that, and so Krishna is accepting Yudhisthira's mood as the elder cousin. And so he's letting him do these things. And then Prabhupada gives the example of Jashoda. Jashoda has the mood of Krishna's mother. So what's the mood of the mother? The mother is, oh, my child has to eat. If they don't eat, they're going to die. And so Prabhupada said in one lecture, he said that Christians are going to church praying, oh God, give us our daily bread, but the devotee is thinking, if I don't feed my Krishna, he'll die. That's the difference. So, and sometimes this question comes up, how is it that if Krishna is Atmarama, he's hankering to associate with devotees in exchanges of love? And there are different answers. So this is one answer, that he's doing this because this is what they want. So he's becoming son or lover or friend or whatever he becomes because that's what his devotees want. So Krishna, in a sense, is a plaything of his devotees. In one lecture that I was fortunate enough to attend in regards to this story, or the story of Krishna coming to Hastinapur, he wasn't planning to stay in Hastinapur. And so Prabhupada said, Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Krishna to stay in Hastinapur. And he said Krishna was not planning to stay. He said, but he couldn't refuse. He said, because his devotee asked him, he had to stay. Like what his devotee asks, he has to do that. Because he's controlled by the devotee. And then you might say, but I've asked Krishna for so many things. You know, where's the Mercedes? Where's the house at the beach? The beautiful wife or husband? The new job? It's said that by taking shelter of the Goswamis, all your desires will be fulfilled. But not those desires. All your real desires will be fulfilled. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he describes, I'm trying to think where, I forget in relation to which verse it is. Oh, Ananda Chintayantos Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate Tesham Niti Biyuktanam Yogakshema Vahamyam. I supply what you lack, what the devotee lacks, I preserve what they have. So he said, Krishna, he loves to give his devotees things. He loves to serve his devotees. And he also loves to take things away from devotees. So why? Well, different stages of devotional service. He actually doesn't want to take anything away. He wants to give. That's what he likes doing. It's not fun for him to take it away. But he may take it away because there's a reason. That either for the devotee who should be preaching, so he takes some obstacle away, like a god brother of mine. He called me up and he said, one day my wife was out for a long time and I didn't know where she was. I called her up. She said she was shopping. And she said, I sent you an email, read it. And the email said, I'm not coming back and it's finished now after 30 years of marriage. And I'm taking the house and all the money and so forth. So it was kind of obvious that Krishna wanted him to become a world preacher. He was 70 years old and Krishna had a lot of faith in him. So sometimes Krishna may take it away as a blessing because he wants you to do something, and sometimes he may take it away because it's an obstacle, it's causing you difficulty. But Vishwanath Chakravarti says that's not really what Krishna wants to do. He likes to follow the devotee around and give them things. Whatever you lack, I give it. Whatever you have, I preserve. So that's Krishna's desire. So Krishna, he knows what we all want. He knows what we need. So first he'll give us what we need, and when we're detached from all wants, then he'll give us what we want. Or more than we want. Krishna is Atmarama. He's self-satisfied. So another explanation is that why is Krishna dancing with all these women and marrying all these women if he's self-satisfied? Interesting answer is because they're all manifestations of himself. So you can write a song, I'm dancing with myself tonight. When Krishna's with the gopis dancing, he's actually dancing with himself. They're all manifestations of his own internal potency. So he's dancing with himself. So that's another aspect of Atmarama. And Krishna is Rasika Shekara. So Krishna is Rasik, which means he relishes love. And we see here, in this verse, Krishna is, it's kind of funny if you think about it. It's like Krishna is going with protection. The creator of the universe, the protector of everyone, is now being surrounded by people protecting him. It's kind of funny, isn't it? You know, it's like a bunch of 5-year-old kids protecting, you know, the biggest boxer in the world, you know. It's like, or the karate, some karate champion who could kill 100 people in 3 seconds, and he's got 4 or 5-year-old kids, and they're pretending that they're guarding him, and they're his sons, and he's having fun and playing with them. So that's what's actually happening here. And this demonstrates how Krishna reciprocates with how the devotees want to serve and protect him. And so Prabhupada is here giving the example of Jasoda. So you know, with Yasoda, there's so many amazing leelas that facilitate Krishna's, her love. And Krishna's doing all these things because he knows she wants to engage in this kind of affair. So he's doing all kinds of things and pranks and just to enhance the love. So Krishna, he loves to enhance love. And he loves to be controlled by his devotees. He allows his devotees to control him. That's what love means. Love means you're totally controlled by the person. If you think you're going to get married and control the other person, you're not going to be one happy camper, I can tell you. Love means to be controlled. Yes, honey, whatever you say. I mean, that has to come naturally. It sometimes comes unnaturally out of as a survival mechanism. But in real love, you want to be controlled. So that's why Prabhupada said in the lecture, when Yudhisthira asked Krishna, please stay in Hastinapur, Prabhupada said, Krishna could not say no, because his devotee asked him to do something, he couldn't say no. It's amazing. Isn't it? Yeah. So in that sense, Krishna becomes the plaything of his devotee. As the devotee moves, Krishna moves. Now Vishwanath Chakravarti says something else which is quite amazing. He said, how does Krishna know who to give mercy to? Where does mercy to? He said, mercy follows the devotee. The devotee says, the devotee has his little laser. He says, I pointed at Amber. And then Krishna says, okay, Amber gets mercy. I pointed at David. In other words, wherever the pure devotee, at least even ourselves, we're practicing pure devotional service. Whoever we want to show mercy to, Krishna then knows, okay, that's where to show mercy. He follows the devotee. Prabhupada said, I'm always praying for you, praying for your spiritual advancement. Whoa. What more could you ask for than Srila Prabhupada praying for your spiritual advancement? But that's it. It doesn't get any better than that. Because if Prabhupada's praying, Krishna will. We've heard some amazing stories of devotees who completely left Krishna consciousness, and Prabhupada came to them in their last days and saved them. So when Prabhupada's mercy is with someone, Krishna's mercy is with someone. You can't lose. So Krishna is the plaything of the devotee, even when the devotee wants to show mercy, even to an undeserving person. Show them mercy. And like Prabhupada showed us mercy. He was so forgiving. We do so many bad things, or sometimes really bad things, and he would forgive us. I was so tolerant with us. So then Krishna tolerates. Then Prabhupada says, 16 rounds, 4 principles, you can go back to Godhead. I wonder what Krishna was thinking. Like, oh my God, what a deal. We have to make this deal work, you know, that's like really a big discount. And sometimes when devotees discuss this, because Prabhupada said this many times, and he not only said you'll go back to Godhead, and many times he said you'll see Krishna. In this life you'll see Krishna, you'll dance with Krishna. For only the cost of 16 rounds and 4 principles, well, 16 good rounds and 4 principles, and some service, you can see and dance with Krishna. And so in Gaudiya Math, if you go, not that you would go, but if you meet anyone from Gaudiya Math, they will say it takes at least 3 lifetimes. That's the standard. You can't do it in 1 lifetime. So one of the leaders of the Gaudiya Math was told that Prabhupada said, you could go back to Godhead in 1 lifetime. And he said, no, it's not possible, at least 3 lifetimes. No, first they didn't say Prabhupada said, they said in ISKCON they say 1 lifetime. And he said, no, it's not possible, at least 3 lifetimes. And then they said, Prabhupada said, and he was like, oh, because he had great respect for Prabhupada. He said, oh, Prabhupada said? And then he said, for Prabhupada, it's possible. Because Krishna will do it because Prabhupada asked. So that's our saving grace, that Prabhupada is mercy upon us, his mercy is upon us, he's praying for us. So we're pretty useless otherwise. our backgrounds are not so great, and even if our backgrounds are great, it's still not so great. It's Kali Yuga, and it's certainly not great enough to achieve prema, and Prabhupada's offering us that. And Prabhupada said, I am 90% lenient, so even my Guru Maharaj was 90% strict. So even 90% lenient still, Prabhupada's saying, this life, you can go back to Godhead. And as you may know in one lecture, Prabhupada said, I have the key to the back door. But definitely, we're not qualified for the front door. So Prabhupada tells Krishna, these people, you know, it's Kali Yuga. What can you expect? Can we get them in the back door? And Krishna says, if that's what you want, how can I refuse? So that's how it works. Krishna has to do what his pure devotee says, and his pure devotee says, can you open the back door? Krishna says, what can I say? I have to. So that's one point in this. What time are we supposed to end class? We can go till 9? Okay. So the other point that stood out for me wasn't discussed in the purport, but it's in the verse, ajata shatru. So ajata means to come into existence or to be born, and ajata means the opposite, never come into existence. Like the verse in Bhagavad Gita, you know, soul has never come into existence. Ajata. What's the verse? Who knows? Ajata. Nijayato mete vakadachan. Yeah, that's different. Yeah, and I'm thinking of a different. But anyway, ajata means does not come into being. So ajata shatru means enemy. So ajata shatru is a description. Yudhisthira is being described as ajata shatru, as one who has no enemy. And so when I first heard this, I thought, this sounds strange because the Kurus are all become enemies of Yudhisthira. So how is it that he has no enemy? Well, he is not envious or upset with them. They're upset with him. So he has no enemy, but he has enemies. So a devotee has no enemy, but some people may see him as an enemy. And there's a saying, people may criticize you, but don't do anything that would validate that criticism. So they may say anything, just, you know, as long as that criticism can't be proved or validated, then you're okay, right? So a devotee may have so many enemies, but he hasn't done anything other than serve Krishna, but they become enemies because they're against Krishna. So a devotee may have enemies because he's preaching, and Prabhupada said that would happen. But a devotee is no one's enemy. In Mumbai, you may know the story in Mumbai, the man who sold us the property was trying to cheat us, get our money, and not turn the property over to us. It's by some so-called legal implication. He would not turn over the property to us, but in fact, he was bribing government officials so they wouldn't give us the proper deed for the property, and he was also bribing our own lawyers, so our own lawyers were on his side. Amazing, huh? Only in India. Yes, Bhagavad Shaya? Only in India? But that was pretty classy, huh? You know, your own lawyers are working against you, yeah. So everybody was against us. And then, when we finally got the property, when Prabhupada, when he went to England in '76, he was so happy to come there because he was coming out of India where he's trying to get this land and everyone's against him. And then the neighbors, because they have the right to live in the property even if you buy the property, due to laws, they can't leave. And the neighbors were against us. They were being disturbed by Mangal Arti. And the neighbors were complaining to the government, the city government, that the kirtan is a nuisance. They're Hindus, they're complaining, they're a nuisance. So when Prabhupada went to England, he was so happy. He said, the British people, I love them, they're so nice. The Indian people, they're all against me. He was so frustrated, isn't it? He was just, oh, it's so nice here, the people are so nice, they're so respectful. And he was appreciating so much the British people, and he was completely frustrated with the Indian people. But anyway, so Prabhupada is giving this lecture in Juhu, or maybe it wasn't in Juhu, but he was describing the situation in Juhu. It was probably in Juhu, yeah. And he was saying, the neighbors say, we are a nuisance. They're Indians, they're Hindus, and they're saying chanting Hare Krishna is a nuisance. And he was so frustrated with that. These were the tenants, even the tenants are against us. Not all of them, but some. And then Prabhupada said, what can you do? Tolerate. All you can do is tolerate, just tolerate. Prabhupada didn't say, okay, we have a plan. We're going to put skunks in the garage, under the house, under each of the house, 10 skunks. And it'll be so smelly they'll all leave. No, that's not the mood of a devotee. The devotee's mood is not to retaliate. So Prabhupada is saying, he's telling the devotees, because we're all a bunch of 20 to 25-year-old young men and super passionate, we could do anything. So it's not, tolerate. Don't retaliate. So a devotee has no enemies, although some people may be his enemy. So we were talking last night how in this world we are often mistreated. All of us. We want justice. We don't always get justice. People do wrong things. And so we're not supposed to have any enemies. Those people who wrong us, we're not supposed to see them as enemies. We're supposed to see everything is happening by divine arrangement. And not only that, we're supposed to see that whatever is happening, I deserve worse. Tatenu kampam sushamikshamaro. This verse in Bhagavatam says we're supposed to tolerate whatever's happening and think, I deserve worse. Have you ever thought? When someone crashes into your car, you think, wow, why didn't you crash into you only crashed into the back. Why didn't you crash into the front and the sides also? I deserve more than one crash. Nobody's going to think that way. Somebody, says something nasty and said, that's all? I deserve so much more. Your boss chastises you. That's it? Your wife gets upset with you. That's all? I deserve so much more. Nobody thinks like that. Isn't it? Nobody thinks that way. It's amazing. But that's why a devotee has no enemy. Because a devotee thinks, whatever is happening, I deserve it. And the devotee doesn't retaliate. Some of you know that I teach a course on forgiveness. But actually, it's a paradox to teach a course on forgiveness. Because there's no one to forgive. Because everything is coming by Krishna's arrangement. Or by the arrangement of karma, or a combination of both, for our purification. So why do you have to forgive someone who was ordained by Krishna as a messenger of your karma? That doesn't make any sense, does it? I forgive you. What did I do? Prabhu, I'm just a messenger of your karma. You deserved it. Of course, we don't say that, but that's how we're supposed to think. So how do you forgive the messenger of your karma? You order something in the restaurant, they bring it, and exactly what you ordered. You don't forgive the waiter for bringing the wrong thing. Why did you bring this? Because you ordered it. Sometimes we look at it and we don't like it. So we don't like the way it looks, but we ordered it. So you can't forgive the waiter for bringing what you ordered, even if you don't like it. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. I don't like it. Why did you bring it? Because you ordered it. Oh, okay. So it's like that. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, he actually used this example, not a waiter, but he said, when people get the fruits of their karma, which is basically what we ordered, we don't like it. We look at it and go, I don't like this. But you ordered it. No, I like the karma of Bill Gates. That's better. No. All right. But you probably didn't give millions of dollars away in your last life, so you're not Bill Gates. So this is inconceivable. But a devotee has no enemy. He doesn't retaliate. He respects everyone. And whatever is wrong, he thinks, I deserve it, it's my karma, I deserve worse. Amazing. And Prabhupada said, in this consciousness, then you are completely fit to get out of this world. Because there's no duality in your life. You're not retaliating. Why'd you do this? That wasn't right. I'm going to report you to the temple president. I never want to see you again. That's not what a devotee does. The devotee just accepts it. That's what it means. You're not my enemy. Who is our enemy? We are. Nobody else is our enemy. So we try to create this false dichotomy that you're my enemy and I'm my friend. No. We are our biggest enemy. Isn't it? And Prabhupada said that. Prabhupada was asked, what is the greatest obstacle to devotional service? He said, you are. You're the obstacle. You get in the way. So, the enemy is not another devotee or another person. It's us. Because even if another person does something which we consider wrong, it doesn't have to disturb us unless we allow ourselves to become disturbed. So if we allow ourselves to become disturbed, we become the enemy, not the person. So we want to blame everyone, but a devotee is meant to be without enemies. So if I see anyone as an enemy, it's not right. Right? Easier said than done, but that's the idea. That's what it's all about. So, as I was saying last night, one of the things that I observe that often happens is somebody does something to upset us or disturb us, and then we become fixated on that person and what they did. That was so bad, it was so wrong, how could they do that? I can't believe a devotee would do that. And then our mind becomes stuck on that. So now we have an enemy, right? That person becomes the enemy. And what's so ironic is that person who disturbed us is now being carried within our heart for days, weeks, months, years sometimes. Isn't that weird? You're carrying the enemy, so-called enemy. And so we don't want to do that. We want to be absorbed in Krishna. And if we are absorbed in Krishna consciousness, we wouldn't do that, because that would be taking us away from our smaranam, our remembrance of Krishna, our absorption in Krishna. And why would you want to think or do anything that would take you away from your hearing and chanting and remembering Krishna? You wouldn't. But think about it. When we become upset about the behavior of another devotee, and we become focused on that devotee, sometimes it's in service and we want to fix the situation, but sometimes it's just a personal thing. We don't have to be thinking of it. And we do. And it becomes an impediment to our devotional service. And this is very, very common. Isn't it? Yes? It's kind of like a bait. I always say Maya has many kinds of bait, and that's one of them. Criticism, fault-finding, allowing ourselves. Sometimes we get disturbed by the behavior of another devotee, and it wasn't to us. It was something we read online. Oh, how could they do that? That's so bad. And our whole day is ruined by one little thing we read on Facebook, that so-and-so said this to so-and-so. Isn't it? It's unfortunate. What? I have a quote from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, which you're going to love. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, just try to improve yourself. If you do, you'll have no time to find fault with others. Just work on yourself, try to improve yourself. If you do, you'll have no time to find fault with others. Let's flip it around. Don't work on yourself. Don't try to improve yourself. If you don't, you'll have plenty of time to find fault with others. So what he is saying is this absorption and allowing ourselves to become disturbed by others' behavior towards others or towards ourselves is because we're not introspective. He also said, let's say someone criticizes you. Nobody likes being criticized. You're not. But he said, you should think Mahaprabhu has come to help you to feel or realize that you're lower than a blade of grass. Mahaprabhu has come to help you become humble. How are you going to become humble? It's not easy to be humble. It's actually almost impossible to become humble. There's a devotee, he wrote a song or a poem, and he said, when I heard of Mahaprabhu's, Prema Sankirtan, I became so happy and joyful to join that movement. But when I read the third verse of Shishastakam, Trinadapi Suniche, now I have to become more humble than a blade of grass, then I became depressed and I thought, it is impossible. So it seems impossible to be humble. It even seems sometimes impossible to even understand what humility is, conceptualize it. And so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says, yes, if someone is critical of you or offends you in some way, then offends us in some way, we should think, oh, Mahaprabhu has sent this person to make me humble because I'm so proud. That's how we're supposed to think. Easier said than done, right? But anyway, these are the instructions. So that the negative comes to us, and rather than the negative being stuck with us, it actually purifies us. Oh, I deserve this, I deserve so much worse. Amazing story, Jagai and Madhai. So Jagai and Madhai, they were like the lowest of the low of the low. They were the creme de la creme of the scum of the earth. They were the icing on the scum. It doesn't get worse. That doesn't get worse than them. Anyway, to make a long story short, they were saved by Lord Chaitanya. These are like the lowest of the low, saved by Lord Chaitanya. And then they built a ghat to repent because they offended so many people and they committed violence to so many people. They stole from so many people. They raped so many women. They killed people. So they wanted to repent, so they built a ghat, and they would stay at the ghat and invite people to come and bathe at this ghat. This ghat is like 3 minutes from where I live in Mayapur. It's amazing. I was just there. What's today? So I left on Tuesday. Yeah, I was just there Tuesday. Yeah. I was at Jagai Madhai Ghat on Tuesday. That's pretty cool. So what they did is they'd stand there and they would invite people to come. And now everyone knew they were devotees. And still so many people hated them for what they did. They hated them. And they knew now they're devotees, we could abuse them. We could get back at them and they won't do anything. So people would come and Jagai and Madhai, slap them, spit on them, abuse them. But do you know what they would say? They would say, thank you, do it more, I deserve it. Isn't that amazing? So they're exemplifying that attitude of that extreme humility. Not, how dare you do that, don't you know I've repented, do that again, I'll beat you up. That's our response. But their response is, I deserve it, do it more. So that slapping was purifying, that was helping them. If we're slapped, is it going to help us? Oh, thank you, Prabhu, I deserve that slap. My wife didn't slap me this week. Thank you for slapping me. I deserve it. Now, who thinks like that? Nobody thinks like that. If we're slapped, we think, I don't deserve that. Isn't it? Yes? Jesus said, if they slap you on one cheek, give the other cheek. So, this is the challenge we have. When negative comes, it tends to stick on us. It doesn't purify us, but it's supposed to purify us. I deserve this. So really, there's no one to forgive because nobody did anything wrong. It's all, sometimes devotees say, well, when you surrender to Krishna, you become free from karma. Or sometimes the example is given of the fan, it's slowing down. It's like, I've been a devotee for 49 years. It should have stopped already. That's a fast fan, you know. Still going 49 years later. Like, why did I bang my toe, and why did this devotee get upset with me, and why was there this horrible thing about me on the internet, and you know. So what the acharyas say is that sometimes you need that bad karma to purify you. So Krishna says, okay, he needs this karma, so you know, we'll create some suffering, we'll utilize his existing karma, instead of dissolving it, we'll utilize it for him to suffer or become frustrated by the suffering in a particular way, because it'll help him become detached. So Krishna may use you or use me to create some problem, or use your mother-in-law or somebody to create a problem for you, because that's necessary to teach you tolerance or humility or whatever it is you need to learn. And we're supposed to think that way. We're not supposed to think, oh, I have an issue with resentment, I have to forgive. There's nobody to forgive. Nobody did anything wrong. It was, you know, of course, objectively, so many things are wrong. And I wouldn't tell a child who was abused, sexually molested, that nothing wrong happened. Of course, we're speaking to adults about what happens on a day-to-day basis. We're not speaking about, you know, huge traumas and, you know, 6 million people killed in Auschwitz and things like that. We're just talking now about normal interactions where we're mistreated and how that sticks with us, and we bring it home and we carry it with it. That's not Krishna consciousness. We're supposed to take it and allow it to purify us. That's the idea. Otherwise, we see something bad happens, it sticks, and now our meditation on Krishna completely is diverted because somebody said something we didn't like. Isn't that crazy? It happens, right? It ever happened to you? Raise your hand if it never happened to you. We have one pure devotee here. That's the mercy of Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll stop here. You have any questions? Yes? You're welcome. My pleasure. Depression, you mean?
And recently, even in Sydney, some of the news is about
Right, yeah.
nostalgia.
He's saying, like, how do you know, when you read the news and there's so much violence going on here and in the world and all these depressing things going on. So, yeah, ecological, yeah, we know how horrible it is. How do we process that? Is that the, yeah. Get out there. More enthusiasm to get out there, because, you know, the worse it gets, the more enthusiastic we are to preach. The more urgent it is. So that's how we respond. We don't respond by, you know, it's like Prahlad Maharaj. He says, you know, I'm happy, but I'm not happy. I'm happy chanting and dancing. Magna Chitta. He says, Magna Chitta. My consciousness is absorbed in Krishna, but I have anxiety. But that's transcendental anxiety. So yes, we are very unhappy. Prabhupada was very unhappy that innocent people were suffering because of bad leadership. I mean, you know how unhappy Prabhupada would be now with Donald Trump. He would be very unhappy. He was unhappy about these things, for sure. But that's why he was so energetic to preach. So you have both things simultaneously, because a devotee's lamentation is not under the modes of nature. So when we hear these things, we do lament, but that lamentation becomes our inspiration for preaching. We travel, we undergo austerity for the benefit of people. For these reasons. It pains the devotee to see the ignorance. Prabhupada was really pained by what the scientists were doing. Because Prabhupada saw clearly the scientists were the ambassadors of atheism, who could couch atheism in a so-called scientific context that would bamboozle people into believing that God no longer exists and that God was just a figment of the imagination of religious zealots who had no scientific knowledge. That really upset Prabhupada a lot. In fact, in one lecture, I was in Los Angeles when Prabhupada was doing those walks with Swarup Damodar, life comes from life walks. So the whole community was buzzing, like, why is Prabhupada talking about all these scientists? We never heard this before. Every day, then he was talking about it in class. I was on a morning walk, Prabhupada was talking about they didn't go to the moon. Then in the class he's talking about why is Sunday before Monday? Because the sun is before the moon. And it was just going on like this. And then in one class he said, they are the greatest enemies of human civilization. Whoa. It's like a hurricane in the temple room. The greatest, he said, the scientists are the greatest enemies. So, can we become angry? Can we become upset? Yes. But it's not under the mode of ignorance. So therefore it inspires us. We meet people and we know their future is not bright. And it upsets us. But we want to help them. So all the bad things that are going on in the world should be an impetus for you to become a pure devotee and give Krishna consciousness to others. If we don't become pure devotees, the world has no hope. There's a purport. We gave class on this maybe 5 days ago or 6, 7 days ago in Mayapur. And how Prabhupada is explaining how he wants all of us to become pure devotees. And that way we can make the world Krishna conscious. So when you see all these bad things going on and you think, I have to become a pure devotee, because if I'm not, I can't do anything to counteract this. Right? But if you're a pure devotee and you say Krishna is God, that'll enter people's hearts. If you're not a pure devotee, you'll say, and they go, yeah, that's your belief. There's a difference. When you're pure and you say it and you're not pure. You say, I'm not. I remember, Bhagavad Ashraya, maybe you have the same experience. I remember Prabhupada would give a class, and he would say like the same things we say. You're not the body, aham brahmasmi, you're part and parcel of Krishna. And when Prabhupada would say you're not the body, everyone in the temple kind of became self-realized for that 3 seconds when he said it. Because we felt that it was coming from a realization. You have that experience? It was coming from a realization. When he said you're not the body, we knew he knew he wasn't the body. So when he said it was like, everybody kind of felt like, like I think I was just self-realized for the last 3 seconds. Then it went away. He went on to a new topic. But so when you're a pure devotee, you can affect people tremendously. So that's how we should feel. The world is so bad, it's so horrible. Unless I become a pure devotee, unless you become a pure devotee, unless we help one another become pure devotees, what can we do? So that's how we take it. And so we become inspired. Okay, I'm going to chant better rounds. I'm going to be more serious, study Prabhupada's books. I'm going to be more serious about strategically spreading Krishna consciousness. There's so many people who aren't coming, or they come to the temple once, they never come back. What's going on? What can we do? As Prabhupada said, strain the brain. So we get inspired by what's going on. So that's how I process it. With all the horrible things going on, it pushes me more. There's people out there, they're innocent people right now waiting for Krishna consciousness. They're waiting. When Prabhupada flew in, I believe it was Australia once, he was looking down at all the houses and he said, everyone is sitting in their house waiting for Gaur Nitai's mercy. Is that true? Yeah. They're sitting in their home waiting for Gaur Nitai's mercy. So, they're waiting for you.
So wonderful, and you have to understand, your Chaitanya devotees are there
Haribol. So there's so many devotees waiting at home right now for you. And then he also said there are devotees on every street corner.
There's a great line in an old Big Floyd song where it says, you're walking around on a patch of ground in your hometown, waiting for somebody or something to come and show you the way. There are millions of people out there.
Yeah.
And we were like that. And we need to see that, just like you were saying, that Krishna reciprocates the desire of the pure devotee. And although we can say, oh, well, I'm not a pure devotee. Well, on one hand we are. If we're following the pure unalloyed devotee, we may still have alloy, we may still have an artery in our hearts. But if we stick to that program, Prabhupada says, like if you're riding a bike and you grab a hold of the back of the bus, you go as fast as the bus. So if we hold on to these things and develop our understanding of this, even though we might not be aware of it, we become a conduit for that, and we become an instrument.
Perfect. And you know what? I was just thinking while you were just talking. I've been speaking about this in India for the last few weeks. This exact thing, and it's so important. Now, let's say this. When was this temple established? What year?
Sorry.
This temple. What year was it established? 70. Okay. Let's pretend the temple just opened. Is this the temple where Prabhupada installed? Oh, okay.
So many years. And then originally the Darlinghurst Road property.
Yeah.
And they were installed there. But then later on.
Where was the temple where Prabhupada made all the Brahmins and installed the...
I think that was Bleed.
So imagine it's 1971. So in 1971 I was 21. How old were you? 21. All right. What's your birth date? Your birth date? Maybe we were born on the same day. Oh. Hare Krishna. So we're all 21, 22, 20. Prabhupada comes here. He said, and he's telling us to spread Krishna consciousness all over Australia, right? Yeah, open temples. That was the program then. I want you go out, spread Krishna consciousness, make the world Krishna conscious. And you just joined three months ago, and there's nobody older than you to do it, like there is now. See, now you're thinking, oh, Mahatma Prabhu is going to do it, and Bhagavan Ashraya Prabhu is going to do it. I don't have to do it, right? That's the difference then. There was nobody to look up to do it. The oldest, when I joined, the seniors were 1 year, maybe 2 years. And I think he was 30 years old, which for me at 19 was like really old. So the elders were 30 and they'd been in the movement 2 years. So when you were in about a year, then you were like 5-star general, ready to go out and conquer the world. So there's a big difference now because you have devotees who've been in a long time, and so we think, well, they're the ones who are going to do it. So we had to do it. So what Bhagavan Ashraya was saying is because we were following Prabhupada, the potency was there and it was coming through us even though we were